All right, I want to document the entity flying over again as seconds later as I'm documenting helicopter activity over my office, flying in the distance, engaging what is which is entirely demonic. The heightened volume of the helicopter clapping. This is the audible activity, and this is the futility. Heather Till is going to have this evidence played in federal court against her and everybody else at the corporate office while she's engaged in facilitating state terrorism. It is not separate. This is the same exact criminal system that I have documented for years before I even relocated to LA. And then when I came and visited Los Angeles, the LAPD did the exact same thing where there is at no time of day ever the sun's going to be over Alvarado Gardens. I came nowhere near Alvarado Gardens when I documented the group stalking conduct by the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department and the LAPD. This is a fully secured prosecution. This is delusional conduct, and Heather Till is going to be prosecuted for it. What I want to point out is not only is that group stalking seconds later, you are understanding what is the probable cause of what is the likelihood that the target individual is truthfully alleging what is group stalking, but also you're looking at the specific environment. This is the sidewalk where the light source is directly over my head, directly over this building at 1046. When you saw those demons flying in relevant position, amplifying the sound, this is the building. It was above my head at that building, and I am standing facing that building at 1:11 p.m. Excellent time, and it's right over my head. This, by the way, the same position that I've captured the light source at 8 o'clock in the morning, where I stand in front of my office and I've captured day in and day out. I've been documenting on video the surveillance conduct by the LAPD and the state as of February 2024. This is before and after daylight savings time, which is only giving it 1 hour. Nonetheless, I'm pointing out what you will recognize as the pattern, what the entity does with the light source. And it is in the same position where I've captured it at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, where I've captured it at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the afternoon. That is all speaking to what is the pattern of conduct, and that's exactly what I captured when it's over my head at this same property, literally walking down to my office. Evidence by itself, even if I didn't have ongoing repeated stalking in helicopter of the LAPD. That in and of itself is speaking to what is group stalking. So I just want to point that out. It is currently 1:12 p.m. This is the same entity that is sending me emails about answering questions and mischaracterizing the evidence that is insurmountable and failing at trying to mischaracterize an attorney that is criminalizing their demonic criminal system. Okay, seeking to do so is an act of obstruction of justice, and the federal government will under no circumstances tolerate that. That is evidence, and this environment is evidence of what is literally the entire property. What they've done now, everybody affiliated with speaker companies, the corporate office, they're all going to federal prison, and the everybody here has already established that, living at the property, but you have more than just a few that are exchanging emails with me, more than just a few that are calling, engaging in that conduct in concert with the entity that uses helicopters to terrorize you and group stalk you, also in the workplace, which is grounds of federal prison. Engaging in terrorism in the workplace, that's not just a civil suit. You're going to federal prison for that. The entity is, this is substantiating what is the entire little office in Palo Alto, and I put that in quote because it's a little office, that whole office, they're all going to federal prison. And that's substantiated by the evidence, and this is what the federal government is also going to recognize, and my evidence is supporting that. The entity is acting in concert with the state, engaging in ongoing terrorism by helicopter, and then using my evidence and trying to mischaracterize it for their criminal purpose, which is an exercise of fictitious authority. Everything that I am subject to, I'm going to document it. And when I say they're going to federal prison, that's exactly what's going to happen. The entire corporate office is going to federal prison. And it is currently 1:14 p.m. And I'm going to note, as I continue to note, the frequency with which the entity is both amplifying and flying directly over, and doing so as I document a video stalking in helicopter. They try to hurry up and try to avoid camera if they can, but then seconds later, as soon as I stop recording, then they engage in it again. This is that by itself is the communication of a threat. This is the personality defect of demons. Okay, this is lawlessness that's being exhibited by a law enforcement agency. Their condition becomes legally relevant because of the mental illness. And then you're talking about knowledge of the fact that your system, your group stalking system, is not a secret. And then you're seeking to terrorize one that is documenting it. You're trying to duck and dodge cameras, and you're repeatedly seeking to engage into your own demise. And let's just give it as an example to the demise of Heather Till, which is evidence that I'm going to use against her. I'm going to play back the multitudinous methods of documentation, not just what LAPD did here, but showing the ongoing pattern that's shared by a whole state, speaking to what is the unmistakable criminal pattern of conduct that she's engaging in and is facilitating. And everything that came out of her mouth is going to be legally relevant for how long she sits in federal prison. Okay, that's what I'm capturing. It is 1:15 p.m. And just to be sure, I want to go ahead and not to be sure, I like to button up ends. I want you to look again at the map so you can literally see on a large picture scale where the light source. The light source is right where the mouse is. This is where I'm at 10:46 in the morning. This is where I'm at. The entity is group stalking in helicopter by flying in relevant position in helicopter, crossing path where the mouse is, while I am at my apartment at building 1806, and the light source is right over my head at building 1806, which you see on video. And then bending underneath the structure to create what is engineered light. No, the engineered light, as you have seen, has nothing to do with the light source. This is how I have engineered light that appears in my bedroom, appearing and disappearing, moving all over the ceiling, which is demonic. And then you have demons such as Heather Till, which seek to, and again, it's not even logical how your criminal conduct, your demented behavior is somehow going to falsely depict another that you are targeting. That's the psychopath. That's the one that you're going to remove from every area of society where they are posing a public safety concern. That level of malice, though, has been nice and neatly encapsulated as a matter of evidence for a very comprehensive federal prosecution. And the entity is maintaining this light source, which is how you're readily identifying, besides the fact that the state provides a wealth of evidence that it is indeed stalking in the specific environment where nothing but stalking is happening. The building 1806 is where I'm at 1046. I'm standing right now outside and it is 1:16 p.m. So let's look at that together. That's literally walking down here, feet away from the same building. That's no direction east or west. It's literally while I'm standing beside building 1810 right here, it's directly over my head. I've gone from building 1806 as a matter of video documentation so that you can see big picture, macro level, not getting lost in the trees. And this is the light source that's over me here. That's not possibly the sun that would be present over me while I'm standing at the same property. Alvarado Gardens is one property, 1800 through 1818 North Alvarado Street. The entity engages in conduct such that the sun remains over the property for the duration of the day. And I've captured that. The sunrise in alignment where? Oh, no, not in alignment to the mailboxes. Not in alignment to what is somebody across on the opposite hillside where Glendale, or on the opposite side of Glendale. It's in alignment to my apartment. That's how I've captured the sunrise day in and day out as early as 6:30 in the morning. No one has forgotten that when Heather Till is speaking the criminally defaming speech that she is, both on a phone, relevant to federal stalking and relevant to what is group stalking, in concert with that entity that's stalking in helicopters, as I capture video after video after video after video after video. Okay, that is serving for what is the comprehensive and detailed federal prosecution that is missing no points of the malice that the entity is employing when it is targeting you and then seeking to have the audacity to try to obstruct justice. Because you seek to do that, because I'm representing and advocating on behalf of the ordinary target individual that doesn't have the evidence, doesn't have the presence of mind, doesn't have the P.O.C, doesn't have the legal skill set, very likely lacks the discernment, you are going to prosecute for every demonic and malicious tactic employed by a corrupt government that is monitoring you even after you have began enforcing your rights. That is documenting the stalker. That is documenting on the video of the internet. Oh, that stalker doesn't stop. That stalker will let you know that they're stalking you while you're physically nude in the shower to communicate a sexually motivated threat. That's what the LAPD did this morning. The LAPD doesn't do it by themselves. It's doing it with the property where the so-called sun remains all day long. It's incriminating all of them. That's why the unnatural environment is present. Everybody's going to federal prison, this entire property. And while I'm subject to criminal defamation, while I'm subject to what is a threat to obstruct justice, while I'm subject to what is terrorism in the workplace, in other words, because that's all, it's ongoing terrorism in the workplace, then you have the entity that's monitoring you, seeking to harass, criminally defame, seeking to obstruct justice. That's what that is. You're engaging in all of that because not only is the entity fearful, but it is hostile. And that's a psychopath that reacts to its criminal conduct with hostility. That's a sick person. And it's a whole population of sick people. This is why Heather Till is going to federal prison, okay? It's well beyond the evidence that LAPD is providing against her. This is a whole body of evidence that pre-existed my close encounters with Heather Till and the the very foolish provision of evidence against one you don't want to say or anything, do or say anything that I'm going to witness, because I'm going to prosecute you with it. Okay, that's exactly I'm going to prosecute you with it. Every exercise of fictitious authority is serving for how long? Every single last one of them, because it's not just speaker companies. Speaker companies is the people of the state. The people of the state is Verizon, every Lyft vehicle coming onto the grounds, Ryder coming onto the grounds, FedEx driving on Alvarado, the demons living on the hillside on both sides of Glendale Boulevard, the entity that's group stalking by driving in a UPS vehicle, delivering packages under the name of Amazon, working for speaker companies, the entity that's group stalking at the courthouses in San Bernardino County. It's the same exact entity, the same exact irreducible pattern that you see. And that pattern is a scientific impossibility to exist, period. And you see the people of the state engaging in this same phenomenon over and over and over again. It's an unmistakable blueprint. Okay, and it is demonic in nature. Everything about that malice that she's exhibiting, and I'm referencing Heather Till, that's demonic. That malice is exhibiting demon possession. Okay, referencing her own condition as scaring those that are group stalking, which is a demonic system. That's demonic. Satan, that is a psychopath. Satan is a spirit. That psychopathic spirit is operating over a population, and that's how you get group stalking, by the way. It is a public safety concern. The entity wants to do it to you secretly, unbeknownst to you. But let me be clear, that psychopathic spirit will call you mentally ill while it is in every way revealing. And I have a body of evidence of it. Okay. I don't have to make up anything about stalking police departments. I don't have to make up anything about light bouncing off of objects as though that would ever be sunlight. They're revealing their own mental illness. And that is, by the way, the character, the personality of Satan, which is a spirit in and of itself. Satan will call you a sex offender when Satan is indeed the sex offender. And you have to have the evidence to show that. That's what the P.O.C. provides. Satan will call you mentally ill when Satan is, in fact, the mentally ill entity acting over a population by virtue of your criminal engagement in the pattern of conduct. Only a mentally ill population would continue to provide evidence of what is clearly peculiar, even on its face, even outside of the pattern of conduct. Any ordinary, reasonable, objective surveyor would be like, why are they flying over her office? So why are they doing that? That's even outside of the fact that they're not even doing it in the natural environment. They're doing it as I happen to be talking about the fact that, oh, this keeps happening, and they keep doing it. That's not falsely depicting the target individual. That's showing exactly what's being alleged. That's stalking. If you don't know the definition of stalking, look it up. That's literally stalking on its face. But the P.O.C. goes beyond that. I'm showing you what is the character of the stalking. Stalking is already a crime. Stalking is already born of obsession. What's the reason for this obsession? What's the reason for this psychotic behavior? What's the reason for what is this light activity? All right. And this amplification of that which is not naturally heard. How do you because they're demons. That's why. Okay. And Satan is a psychopath that will defame you, falsely depict you when it is. And I'm talking about the whole population that have the same spirit over them, monitoring spirits. Okay, and that's what's exhibited by Heather. And because she's an employee of a third-party company, she's going to federal prison for it. And both her condition and her criminal conduct pursuant to that condition is going to be used against her. It thereby becomes legally relevant. She is in the shoes of the state. It is currently 1:23 p.m. This is P.O.C.